group, the Get Karate Students community. We are live here with Deric Terrell from United Studios of Self-Defense.
Hey.
Very exciting to be here and to be doing this interview. I'm very much looking forward to all this stuff. So if you guys can hear and see us, just say hi, leave a comment, let us know that you're here with us live. Let us know that you can see us and that you can hear us. And if you're watching the replay, we like to know that too. So go ahead and comment replay in the chat so that we can see you and know that you're watching the replay. We like keeping track of and seeing who's watching all this stuff and make sure that we're serving our community in the best way we can. So if you're live, go ahead and type in live in the comments. And if you're on the replay, go ahead and type in replay. We've got Deric Terrell of USSD Oceanside on the line, ready to talk to us today. And we're going to talk about how he was able to nearly double the size of his school in spite of a global lockdown pandemic. It's pretty awesome. We're going to break down his whole story. It's very encouraging, very inspiring. And I know a lot of people are in the same boat as Deric. And so we thought it would be a perfect story to share with you all. Deric famously is my favorite client. So it's very, very cool and very exciting for us to be interviewing Deric. We're going to be reading the comments for feedback. So if you guys have questions for us or for Deric, just type those into the chat as we're going through everything. And I'm going to be kind of looking back and forth. I'm trying to watch comments and make sure that our Zoom's live and make sure everything's working. But so don't mind me if my head's going back and forth. I'm not watching a tennis match. I'm just trying to manage all the technology here at the same time. So I want to ask you all right now before we get started, and then we'll get into Deric's story. But who out there has tried everything to grow your school? Maybe you've done community events. Maybe you've done some parades or birthday parties or kids expos and demos. Maybe you've been posting on social media and just feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, not growing. Maybe you got the yo-yo effect. That's Deric's famous line is the yo-yo effect, where you get a few students and then you lose a few students and you get a few and lose a few. And so maybe you've tried that stuff and you're just not getting a consistent flow of new white belts on the floor day after day, and you're ready for a change. So if that sounds like you, just leave us a comment and say, yeah, I've tried that. That was basically Deric's story before finding us. He was, and I'll let him share exactly what he's done and what's impacted his enrollment, his revenue specifically. But if you would right now, watching live or on the replay, if you're frustrated with your school's growth, you're not getting enough people in the door, not enrolling enough white belts month after month consistently, tell us in the comments what you've tried as far as like marketing your school. Give us a list in the chat. Maybe you've done parades. Have you done parades? If you've done parades, go ahead and type it in. If you've done events, if you've done demos, maybe you've done school talks, maybe you even run Facebook ads or boosted posts or hired an agency. What have you tried? Go ahead and type it into the chat. Travis is going to be paying a lot of attention to the chat and the comments. And so it looks like everybody hearing us. Travis, are we getting?
Yeah. Virginia's here as always, which is great. Mr.
Awesome.
Delfino is here. So just like the other day, we're having lunch. So they're saying loud and clear and they're excited to hear about it. So dig in.
Very cool. So let's get it started off. Deric, how's it going, sir?
It's going really good, guys. It's going amazing. Thank you for having me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It was really cool to be out there in Vegas and see you guys live, like in your element. Travis and I were talking about how, a lot of times we see you guys, you're in like learning mode or you're on our Q&A calls and you're just like asking questions, but we never get to see you like on as the masters and in your element. So it was really neat to see that and to shake hands with everybody and just to be there in person. It was pretty cool to do that. So thanks. That was all you, man. You invited us. So thanks for inviting us out.
Well, you guys showed up. So I appreciate you guys flying all the way across the country to come out here and do that and to kind of see what you've helped all of our schools do. So
super cool. So we're here today to officially celebrate nearly doubling the size of your school. And so I can't wait to ask you how that feels later in the call. But would you go ahead and just like introduce yourself to those people that might not know who you are or where you're from, just kind of some of your backstory, and then we'll kind of dive into the meat of the interview and give some insight into, how things can change. But go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, great. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Master Deric Terrell. I'm the chief instructor owner here at USSD, United Studios Self-Defense in Oceanside, San Diego, California. My background is all Kempo. I've been studying the art of Kempo since 1985. I'm originally from New England, good old New England, a little cold, but good old New England, from New Hampshire originally. And I got up to about second degree black belt back in New England, and then graduated high school, decided to serve my country as a United States Marine. Did that for 4 years, and that brought me out here to California. And so I got out of the Marine Corps of December of '94, but I was actually in a kind of a thought transition mode right there, because I still had some time left in the Marine Corps, and I started training in the martial arts again about, I don't know, my last 6 months of the Marine Corps, because we've got schools out here too. And so I was like, oh, this is great. So I'm going to start my training, see where it leads me. And so I had a decision to make right about at the end of 1994, December, whether I was going to re-enlist in the Marine Corps and have everything be taken care of for me, or, you know, jump in and to be an entrepreneur. So I became an entrepreneur, but once a Marine, always a Marine. But so I've been at this location in Oceanside now since January of '95 is when I took over this location. And so since then, I started off as a young black belt, second degree at the time, and just kind of put into a school and said, go. So a little difficult process, but today is a different story, much different story. So that's a quick backdrop for you.
Awesome. So take me up to like through the school. You started the school, it grew. Where was like the stuck point? Where was the ceiling that you kept getting stuck at? How many students, revenue, kind of those kind of numbers?
Yeah. So that number is, for me, there's a couple of them, but the biggest one to really crack through was that 80 mark. 80 was, I don't know what it is. And a lot of my colleagues and other martial artists, I know that 80 mark seems to be difficult. For me, it was like that 80, but then we dropped down to 70. And I'm like, oh, dang, you know, you could lose 10 like really quick. And so sometimes that 70 mark was there too. And then we get the 75, go back to 70, and then we hit the 60s. I've hit as low, I don't know if I showed you this before, but I hit as low as 35 to 40 students.
Wow.
And that was not good. So that 80 mark was my barrier.
Got it. And what are you up to now?
110.
110. All right. Awesome, man. Very cool. So 35 is a low, 70 to 80 is a ceiling, and now at 110. So if you would just kind of give me a little bit about what it means for you personally to be able to say, you know, to break through that barrier of 80 and to be at 110 and to not see another ceiling in sight, to feel like that 110 is like, because we've talked about this, you know, the two of us and the three of us here have talked about, you know, the future of your growth, but walk me through kind of what it means for you personally to be able to know that that 80 is not a barrier anymore.
Man, it's amazing. It's thrilling. It's exciting to know that that 80 number will no longer come knocking on my door ever again. And I've told you guys, you know, that 100 mark, I am not going to go below 100. Not with your program. There's no way. So it's very exciting to have that happen. A lot of new growth, obviously a lot of new white belts. Where do I put them? Those are good problems to have, as we all know. Hitting that 110 is just, it's a great feeling, because with the program that we have in place with you guys now, when we lose 2 people, I'd be like, that's okay, because I'm going to get 10 more, you know? So if I lose 2 people, lose 3, which we all do, I don't really worry about it anymore. I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, I lost those students, but my mindset is so much more sharper now. And I don't have to go, oh my gosh, I lost another $400. I lost another $800. I don't even really think about that anymore. I just think about, okay, let's keep doing the program. Let's keep moving forward. With your program, all things are possible, let me tell you.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. So for those of you watching, go into the comments if you know what it's like to lose a couple students and be totally bummed out. Because I would imagine, Deric, the way that you're explaining it, that before knowing that you had a system that you could just plug right into and enroll students, losing 2 students was like, or losing 4 or losing more, it hurts. It's painful because you don't know why they're leaving, or you understand why they're leaving, but you don't know how you're going to replace those students. And, we love the students, but it's also, we got to have revenue coming into the school and income coming into the school. So when you lose a few students, it can be pretty painful. So if you know what that's like, just go ahead and tell us in the comments. You can just say, me too, I know what that's like. And, when you're stuck, like you talked about, it's hard to plan for the future, to plan, upgrades in the dojo or to buy equipment. And if you're confident in your curriculum and your programs, or, everything's great and all that stuff, but there's definitely some holes in the growth strategy. You're like, well, I don't know if I can replace the mats, or I don't know if I can buy new bags. I don't know if I can do all that stuff. So, it's really cool to see the confidence that you had, that even I remember watching, I think it was during COVID, that you actually remodeled the dojo, right? You were so confident in your enrollment during a pandemic and during a lockdown that a whole rehab of the dojo happened, right?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Pretty cool.
It also sounds like to me, John, that it's allowing Deric, and tell me if I'm wrong, Deric, but it's allowing you to focus more on teaching why you have your school open. Right before, when students left, it was like, okay, now I got to go focus on how can I get more students. But now some leave. You don't want them to leave, but there's something in the background going on where you're like, look, I'm here to teach class, and the kids will come when they come because I have the things in place for them to come.
Yeah, I have, with your program, I have a well-oiled machine that will keep going, that will keep getting me leads, it'll keep getting me appointments and intros and signups. And I've got the numbers to back it too. But during COVID, yeah, we did remodel, so that was good. And not worrying about when people leave, because we got that well-oiled machine in place. It's just like, okay, we're going to keep building, we're going to keep growing. So
awesome. Walk me through a little bit of how you were treating your marketing before you found us, and then we'll talk through some of the shifts that happened. But how were you going about getting students before you started working with us? What was the strategy?
Oh boy. Everything and anything, but to be more specific, lots of foot canvassing, right? We have done foot canvassing with door hangers. We've done that. We've done foot canvassing with flyers. We've done business to business flyering here in my shopping center. Try to do some business to business activity. And don't get me wrong, we got some students from it and we got some good leads from it. Mm-hmm. But the follow-up process was a little bit more difficult in actually getting them to come in and show up and take the lesson, and then thereafter that become an actual member. So the business to business, oh my goodness, we did, I don't know if anybody's done something called Lunch and Learns. Anybody hear of that? Lunch and Learns? I would go to these corporate businesses and show up during their lunch and learn session and just be there as a speaker, or maybe a quick little demo or something like that. I've done women's self-defense courses. We've all done those, and those are all great. They're all wonderful. It's reaching out to your community, and I believe that's what we should still do. But a lot of that stuff was just very, very time consuming. And then trying to get back into the dojo and get your mind off of what you just did, hoping that it's going to be successful. That was pretty stressful. Now, going into the Facebook advertising, which I've done before, and I've taken classes on how to try to better myself with Facebook advertising, tried to figure it out. I even went to Facebook Boost class. It was like a 2-day event. Yeah. And they had a lot. I'm like, oh, this is it. This is it. I'm going to a Facebook Boost deal. I'm going to learn everything. So I went, I learned about Facebook advertising, learned about how to get correct pictures and this and that, like the works. But come to find out, all it was a kind of like, well, this is what you can do on Facebook. There was no how-to step by step. So the whole grand thing was, this is what you're able to do. It will show you that you can do it, but there is no teaching methods on how to actually make it work. And so I tried to implement it on Facebook ads in the ad manager, trying to follow other gurus online, and did sign up for another company online. There was no step-by-step model to follow. It was just a bunch of like video talk and this and that. This is how we do it. And this is, you should implement this. I'm like, well, there's no step-by-step. So I figured out what I could on Facebook advertising. I didn't know what I was doing. It's pretty complex. I did try boosting. And do you know how many students I got from that? How many leads? 0.
The goose egg.
Goose egg. Yeah. But in my mind was, okay, I got to get out into the community somehow. And I was thinking, well, this is the way to do it, is social media nowadays. And this was even like not too far along ago. I've done getting into different groups, belonging to different social media groups and trying to get in there and post this and post that and post a free month and post a free trial and post everything I could. Got a lot of likes out of it though. And that didn't work for me too well. My goodness, going to street fairs. We always look forward to this one street fair every single year. And that was the yo-yo effect. We would get hundreds of leads, and then we'd have an event the very next weekend. We have a parking lot full of bounce houses and games and dunk tanks, believe it or not. Man, we went.
I want to go to that.
Did you get dunked?
No.
I would have been there for sure.
I wasn't going to sit in that thing. I had a job to do. I had to coordinate everything.
Did you say you put your wife in the dunk tank?
No, I didn't do that, but she did put a panda suit on for me though.
Oh, that's right. She was the Kung Fu Panda.
She did put a Kung Fu Panda suit on for me though. She didn't mind it. The kids enjoyed it. And guess how many enrollments we got from that?
Oh, I do like the lunch and learn. John and I have a lunch and learn. He took me to lunch. I ordered so much food. He learned to never take me to lunch again.
I just learned to offer to pay at the end.
Yeah, he learned to pay at the end, which is.
Oh my goodness. We've done birthday parties. We've done all kinds of things. People come in, we get their information, birthday parties, we got a couple here and there. But it was just so much work and so much to track, even just on, just doing in a spreadsheet or something like that. So can I say that I've done most or all of it? Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I love about you, Deric, that I share with others is that you had a mindset. Look, I know I'm here to teach martial arts. I'm not a festival organizer. I'm not a promotion that's not what I'm doing, but you're willing to do it because it allowed you to get more students and at least attempt to get more people in the door. But ultimately through all that stuff, dunk tanks, all that stuff that's fun, your passion is in the school. And all that, like you said, is so draining. It's great to do when you have the energy and the time, but when you have to do it, I don't know about you, when you get to do stuff, it's a lot more fun than when you have to do it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've always shared with people, just how you're humble enough to say, look, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, but it sure would be nice if I didn't have to.
Right. Well, especially as I'm getting older too, back in my 20s and 30s, it was like, go, 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 go. I'm hungry. Forget about it. I don't need to eat. I'm just going to keep going. Now it's like, I'm not all going out and about and doing all that stuff.
Definitely.
Right.
So a couple of things you were talking through that was getting me thinking was, it sounded like a lot of your offers were for free, either a free week, free month, that kind of thing. And obviously tried a lot of stuff, didn't get a lot of, or any results really. It sounds like, there were times at the events where you're getting results, but like with the Facebook boost, a couple of the events, it was really inconsistent. So pretty much to summarize, tried about everything, nothing really gave you any consistent results. So from anybody from the outside that's looking in, what we helped Deric implement was not just throwing a bunch of random marketing stuff out there and then just like trying to get your name out there, but it's a very strategic system and in the approach, and it's very much a step-by-step process that we take strangers through. And I know Deric loves saying a step-by-step process because I think that was probably the thing that stood out the most to him when he started to work with us, is that we literally broke it down step by step for him. And the process really just helps you take complete strangers and take them along this path to make these tiny little micro commitments. And that path leads them toward becoming a fully enrolled student. And that's what Deric's been able to tap into. He's a great example of somebody who's just been able to follow our process to the T. And it's really showing, because I mean, you pretty much nearly doubled your school in a very short period of time. And it's just because he's followed that process. And so I want to get into that process here, because, you know, you've been running ads, Deric, and I know you've tried running ads before you started working with us, but we've helped you tap into that really strategic way to do that. So when you're doing all that stuff before, and, you know, going to the events and going to the lunch and learns and doing all that stuff, and trying to get students, would you say that you were working more hours compared to the time that you spend now on your advertising?
Oh, yes. Yes. Because I would have to get out and about and do foot traffic, obviously, close the school to go do certain events, because at the time I was a one-man show. So I didn't have a lot of time to get out there. I got 2 instructors now, thanks to you guys. And so, yeah, definitely doing a lot more harder work in getting out there, you know, meeting and greeting the people, great. You know, seeing the community out there, great. But trying to take time from home and then get out on the streets early, do all these different types of marketing, promoting, and then getting back into the studio and then teaching classes all day. It was pretty draining. It was really draining.
Yeah, exactly. So working harder, enrolling less students,
yeah.
the old way, working less, enrolling more students this way. So we've talked about having a strategy. You know, it's not just lead generation, but also the follow-up and the enrollment strategy. I want to get into being very intentional about, you know, the time and that you're spending specifically, and knowing your numbers and what to expect. So when you spent money on advertising in the past, did you have a detailed way to track and measure the success of those things? Were you paying attention to certain, what we call KPIs, key performance indicators?
No.
No. Okay. And so when you were running ads before, how did you measure the success of it? Like, what was your barometer? If you ran an ad or you did an event, how did you know, like, oh, that was good or this wasn't good?
Well, basically, you know, if we went to, say, one of our community events, we did a table or something like that. So of course we implement them, put them into my computer, we had everybody in there, names, phone numbers, emails, set the appointments for those people to come in. But then as far as like really detailed tracking and measuring the success of each and every single event was pretty difficult, you know, trying to run one tracking system for this event and another tracking system for this event. And you know what, to be honest, I just got tired of it. And I'm like, okay, so the only way I really measured it was if people actually showed up and if they enrolled. And I'm like, okay, how did you find about us? And then we'd always, you know, track that. And so the tracking system for me, it started out good, but then doing so many events, it got really messy.
Yeah. So when you had events like that, or when you were out doing things, did you go into it thinking, if I can just X, this will be good? Or did you just kind of go thinking, this is what I'm supposed to do, because what else am I going to do?
Exactly my thinking, right? If I can just get X amount of people out of this, this would be great. And this would not just increase my student base, maybe by 5 students, 6 students, 4, even 3 students. Oh my goodness, if I could have 3 students in 1 week at that time, was great. And so even if I could get X amount of students, I'd be like, wow, that I would be pumped for a couple of days. Yo. And then that same week, I kid you not, or the same day, I would lose 3. We're right next to Camp Pendleton. You know, we have a lot of military. We don't have a lot of military here per se at the school. We do, but it's not overly populated with the Marines here and they're leaving all the time. So it's not like that. But we have those events where we'll get 3, 4, 5 students. If we get 5, man, and at the end of the week, I'd be right back down in the pit because I lost all the students again. I'm like, I got nowhere. All that work, I got nowhere. And it was pretty upsetting.
Well, I'm glad that you're being so transparent with that, because one thing I do want to touch on is the personal development aspect of things, because sometimes people think of mindset stuff and working on yourself and personal development as like this, spiritual woo-woo stuff that's like out there and meaningless. But really, when you have systems and processes in place for your business, if you're not working on your mind too, and putting into place some things that develop you personally, you can fall into those traps where it's like you don't know when is a good time to take that measurement. Is it when I just got the 5 students and I'm feeling great? Is it when I just lost the 5 students and I'm feeling terrible? Like, understanding how to deal with those things on a personal level is so important to your decision making in the business. And so it's super powerful. And I see those, that growth in you as you talk about things. And I don't know if you're aware of that connection, but looking at how you dealt with things in the past, and then the way you talk about how you deal with things now, and just that personal understanding of how to keep those emotions in check and make decisions based on facts. It's super, super powerful.
Yeah. Like I said, back in the day, before I met you guys and implemented your step-by-step program, we had a step-by-step, as far as foot canvassing, getting out there, getting in the community. But again, the process to make sure they came into the studio. And then when they got into the studio, for me, and I'm sure I can speak for some others, when you get them in, it's like, hurry up, sign them up. Like, you need a student and you need it today. Rent is due, and I need some students. So I think when they came into the studio, I knew I rushed the process, because we would have something in place, if they come in for their introductory lesson, or if they came in for a 2-week, or if they came in for $49 for 2 weeks, or if they came in for a $99 special for the month, we'd always try to get them early. And I could tell, and I know that the parents could tell that I was rushed, because you can convey that without even trying to convey it. And knowing that I was pressured to get students for my own self and for my school, conveying that over without even me realizing to do it, I believe people can pick up on that. And then, but again, step-by-step process, yes, but it wasn't like laser focused. Like your program is like laser focused. Like this, your program's like, I was thinking about this morning, it's like, I connect the dots. It's pretty simple to do, right? Connect the dot, connect the dot, connect, don't skip that dot, connect that dot. Don't skip that dot, connect the dot, connect the dot. So that's what I've done with your program, is just step by step and connected all the dots.
I love it. I love it. Cool. So one thing I do want to ask you, let's get into some numbers. So far in the program, do you know about what you've spent on ads total?
Oh, since day one? I don't have that number, but I can tell you that we've been doing $20 a day.
Okay.
Consistently.
Yep.
I entered your program January of 2020.
Okay.
And
about 12,000.
What's that?
It's about 12,000 in ad spend.
Okay.
Okay.
And there were times where we bumped it up as well too.
Yep.
I remember, John, you helped me get on the market domination program. That helped out really well too. But a simple $20 a day, and some numbers, I wrote them down just to make sure I didn't forget them.
Okay, let's hear them.
I love it.
This is not like a script that I'm reading from. These are my numbers. So we hit 100 students in 2021, March 12th. And then 3 days later, we got 103, 104, and we just kept going. Out of 110 active students that we have now, I went through my roster this morning, and about 50 of those are from your program that are active here in my school right now. When I first started with you guys in January, after a few conversations with Travis, I might slip that in there. Little skeptical at first, but not anymore. So my first ad went live January 27th of 2020. So it only had a few days to be live just for that particular month. And that was 4 days of a live ad that you showed me how to do. You ready for these leads? 26 leads in 4 days. 18 appointments. Let's see, got 5 intros, 4 paid trials. And that was just in 4 days. Okay. And we grossed, $268 in 4 days. You want to know February's numbers?
Yeah.
Okay. So February, from the 1st of February to the 29th of February in 2020, 56 leads. Using the same exact ad, same exact process that you guys taught me how to do. Because I figured, if I'm going to join your program and I'm going to get the results that Travis and I talked about, then I'm going to follow your program to the T. So I did.
Nice.
So February, 56 leads, 27 appointments, 19 intros that came into the dojo. Out of those 19 intros, I got 19 paid trials on day 1.
100% closing ratio. 100% conversion.
Got 5 enrollments out of that, but my total revenue was $2,348.
Okay, wait, hold on. $600 in ad spend. First month revenue, $2,348 in return.
Yes.
Plus, how many students?
We enrolled 5.
5, and what do you charge?
$215.
Travis, are you good at math? That's gonna be one for me.
That's about $1,075 in.
So an increase in $1,075 every month.
Yep.
Let's say that you only stayed for a year. What's that? An extra
12,000.
12,000. So 600 ad spend, $12,000 return.
Plus the paid trials. So it's actually like a 14,500.
What's the return on that investment? What's our multiplier? It's high.
A lot. It's like 20x.
20x. All right.
More than that.
Everybody who's watching right now, who's willing to spend? Who would spend $600 to get 14,000 in return?
I'm gonna write yes for me.
Write yes in the comments. Write yes in the comments. If you would spend $600 to get a $14,000 return on investment, 2,300 of which came in the first month, which probably hit your bank before Facebook even charged your card for the $600. So would you do that? Would you be willing to do that? Would you put $600 into a machine to get 14,000 out? Say yes in the comments if you would do that.
Jose says yes. Michael says duh.
Duh.
No brainer.
Awesome. So Deric, you came and you put yourself out there. You're a what's your degree in black belt? You're a master. What degree?
6th degree.
6th degree. You decided to be humble and just follow our process A to Z, which has been beautiful to watch. And I know you've tried a lot of other things, joined a lot of other programs. And, by the time we met, like you mentioned, you were very skeptical. What was it? I'm curious. What was it about us after you saw some of our training? You had a couple conversations with Travis, watched some of our content. What was the thing that tipped the scale to say, you know what, I'm going to join the Student Magnet program? What was that one thing that made you say, yes, Travis, here's my credit card, and you made the decision to invest in the Student Magnet program to change your school? Like, what was the maybe one or two moments that you saw that helped you make that decision?
Okay, so up until the final decision where Travis and I were on that final phone call when I actually signed up. But I can tell you, after what I've been through with all the other companies that I've been with and trying to do it on my own, it was actually the number one thing was prayer. That's what made me say yes.
Amen.
That's the number one thing. And I don't want to disclude that.
Yeah.
But when we were on that final call, because I think it was like a third phone call, I think Travis second or third.
It was probably, third, maybe 4, but I'll give you 3.
Okay, let's go with 3, okay? You had called back and just was wondering, how's it going? I shared with you where I was at with my student base, and you asked me a question. Not exactly, I can't remember how you worded it, but it was something like this. So, are you still at that same number where you were a while ago? Where are you at with your current student base? And I just kind of went, same number. And after that, and the things that we had talked about before on our phone calls and implementing the system and telling me how it works at the time didn't seem real, because I've been through so much before and spent so much money before and got zero return, zero. So my wife was sitting with me on the phone call, listening in. I might have put you on a quick hold or whatever. And I said, what do you think? And she's like, so she's like, I'm at peace with this. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so that's where we signed up on that spot. I think that was early January. We went through the program. I went through those videos fast to get my school up and running quick. And so I really just needed to make sure that when I went through your program, your video training, that I told myself that whatever I was doing in the past, in my 20 plus years of doing this and running my school, that I'm going to put all that aside. I'm going to continue to have great value in my school and teach great lessons, and make sure that I have the best curriculum ever. But the program that I implemented with you guys, doing your program step by step, I had to tell myself, okay, whatever I was doing before wasn't working, and I've got to let go of that. And I've got to do this step by step by step by step, almost to prove you wrong.
That's one of the things I appreciate about you, Deric, is that, every once in a while we're running to somebody who's kind of still holding on to that stuff, and they'll be like, well, I always have done it this way. I always done it that way. Not too often. I think that the way we've got everything set up, we try to really explain the why behind what we're doing so that you don't feel that way. But one thing about you is that from the very start, you were always like, look, if this program is going to fail, it's going to be their fault, not mine. I'm going to do it to the T. And I love that, because when people do that, it works. And it's just really refreshing to see, that you would just like, you got it from the very beginning, man.
And I wanted to let you know that when I was getting these paid trials coming in, in the script that you have implemented into the program, that works, because that's not what I would normally say. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I could say that. That doesn't sound right. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Connect the dots, step by step, follow the program. So I would literally try to memorize the script the best I could, and did it. And on day one, when they came in for their free week, I upgraded them to a paid trial almost every single time.
It's awesome. I love it. I love it. One of the things we focus on is that we want you to have a profitable school. We want you to make an income that you deserve, and we want you to have an abundance, but we want you to have that opportunity to have an amazing life at the same time. So we want you to be able to enjoy that success. Hopefully you could take some of that revenue you're making and, do something nice with the family every now and then. That's sort of one of our core values here. So let's talk about where you're at. So student count is 110. Right. And have you ever been that high? Have you ever enrolled? Have you ever had
No,
never?
No, never. Nope. No, I hit 100 one time. I think back in, it was 08 or 09. And we hit 100 for a day.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, man, we shot back down fast. I don't know what it was, but we were in serious trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty common. You see that happen a lot. Like there are these set points. There's these thresholds of areas where you hit a high and you hit a low. And you know, a lot of it has to do with the systems that you have in place or what keep you in that range. You know, when you get to a certain number of students, you get busy enough in the school where marketing and advertising and getting out in the community is not as important to you because you're okay up here. And then as that number starts to fall, you get to the point where you freak out and you go do more of that stuff. And it's just that cycle. And so it's really cool to see how you've broken through that. One of my favorite expressions is when old ceilings become new floors. Where you notice, that's where you know that growth is happening. And we see that in you 100%. So if you guys that are watching right now, if you're feeling inspired, just type in the comments the word inspired. Let us know you're inspired in the comments. This is super awesome to see. These success stories are really meant to be inspiring. The reason that we're interviewing you, Deric, right now is because we want to inspire other school owners who are great at what they do and they've implemented other things in the past. We want to help them be inspired to do things like you've done, to implement a system that literally anybody can do. And Deric, you're an awesome dude. You're really, I know you're really awesome at martial arts. I know, and personally, you know, as a Christian brother, I appreciate you and how you're so open and stuff, but anybody can do what you've done if they just put this system into place. So we want that to be, we want these interviews to come from a place of inspiration. As long as you have a willingness to humble yourself and to follow the process, literally anybody can do this and plug this in. And we want these interviews to be motivating and inspirational. We don't want them to be like a big bragathon, and we don't want people to think like, oh, look how awesome Deric is and he's doing a great thing. You are awesome. You are doing a great thing. But really the purpose of these interviews is to inspire people and to motivate them and to show them that they can do it too. So if you're watching right now and you're inspired, just type in the comments inspired and show Deric some love. If you're on the replay, you can type inspired too. If you're watching, just reply and say inspired in the chat. If you're with us live, you definitely want to type inspired in the chat, because that way Deric can see it. He can feel love and feel like he's appreciated here in the community. I appreciate him big time. Travis and I, multiple times throughout his membership here, we have said, man, this is what we do this stuff for. This is, you know, we look at our business as a ministry, and, you know, that's just, it's awesome to see that stuff coming out of your school and those kind of results. So if you would, when you hit that 100 point for the first time in the program and you knew it wasn't going to be for one day, can you take me through a little bit of how that was emotionally for you? Because I remember there's been some ceilings that I've hit in the past, and when I hit those ceilings knowing it was going to be a new floor, I remember the feeling it was. But I'd love to hear from you. Like, how did you feel when you saw the fruits of your efforts come like that and to get through that barrier? What was it like?
Man, it was a relief. It was a relief. I think many other school owners like myself, if you hit that, if you can just get that 100 mark or whatever mark it is that you need for your school. Heck, if you're already at 150, well, why not get 100 more students, right? But when I hit that 100 mark, it was a huge relief. It was definitely believable, because when I started in 2020 in January, and I'm like, I am on my way to 100 students by the end, or at least middle of 2020 summertime. Well, that wasn't the case because COVID came in. But even when COVID came in, you guys stepped up to the plate and had another step-by-step program for us to continue to get leads and to continue to get trials, Zoom trials, and still get enrollments over Zoom. So that was awesome. But to have that new level of that 100, it's a feeling of like great security. Like I am not going to go below 100. And so having that, even that 110, that extra 10 student cushion, you know, is good. So if I lose two and, you know, and get more students, I'm okay with that. My ultimate cushion is get to that 120. So I have that 20 cushion student, you know, so I have that good, strong cushion there so I don't go below 100. So that feeling is really, really, it's satisfying, I think is the word. I don't know if that's the word, but it's very satisfying.
Hey, it's your word, man. I love it. I love it. Cool. Well, the beautiful thing is, Travis and I are super proud of you, man. Happy to see all this success for you. What's really cool is that this is just the beginning. You have the opportunity for so much growth ahead of you. And, when those old ceilings become new floors, that gets me excited, gets me inspired. So, for everybody who's inspired, this is what we do here at GKS. We help martial arts schools fill up their classes. We're not just looking for people who want to enroll a bunch of students. Deric was stuck at that 70 to 80 mark, wanted to get over 100. That's great. But we love working with school owners who are like Deric, that have this great curriculum. They have programs that are built with love and intention to impact the community and to help improve the lives of their local communities. So if that's you, what I want to do is invite you to we've opened up some time on our calendars for some private 15-minute calls, totally free. There's nothing for sale on the call. It's just the same kind of call that Deric went through the first time to learn about our process and understand what the blind spots are. And, for you to be able to understand how we can specifically help and really help to formulate a game plan for your specific school and your specific situation. So we might even take a peek at some of your marketing efforts right now, give you some practical strategies that you can implement right away. But if you're a school owner who has a quality program and you want to get your program out in front of more students, you want to do it the same way Deric has done it, then what we're going to do is we're going to open up a limited calendar schedule for a limited time only. And we're going to open up some space for a free 15-minute game plan probably with Travis. And again, we're going to go over a few key details about your school, and we're going to help you understand where you're at. We're going to learn more about where you're at. We're going to talk about the issues you're running into and really cast a vision for what it would look like working with us directly. So if you want that 15-minute game plan call, it's only available for a limited time. Go ahead and type game plan in the comments right now on this video, and we will definitely give you guys some answers. We'll give you some clarity. This call is going to allow you to see if you want to work with us or not. So there's nothing for sale. You're going to get a ton of value from this, and you're going to get a ton of clarity on what it looks like specifically for you and your school. So for everybody watching, if you're a school owner and you want to dial in the same exact process that Deric's been able to use to take his school from stuck at 70 to 80 students consistently up to over 110 with 120 really close in the vision and being able to see, he can easily stay there. If that's you, just type game plan in the comments right now. We'll hook you up with that game plan call. And once you do that, one of us is going to reach out, probably Travis or myself. We're going to reach out on Facebook Messenger. So if you don't see it on there, there's a thing called message requests. You might want to check that too. But we're going to open up our calendar. We're going to get you on the books either tomorrow or the next day, maybe even the day after that. And we might give you some additional resources or some homework assignments or that kind of thing to really get the pieces of the puzzle together and look at our process from a very high level. And so we might even give you some methodology training that'll give you some answers and clarity just for taking that call. So type game plan in the comments right now. And before we wrap everything up, I want to get back to you, Deric, and I would just love to hear really quickly, like, what are you most excited about moving forward, like over the next 12 months or so? You've already moved past your original goals, and what's the most exciting for you in the next 12 months?
Of course, the growth. My ultimate goal is 150 students. I can see that. I can see it. It's going to happen. I don't even have to question it. I don't have to question it, and that is the truth. Don't have to question it. Using the program that you guys have given me and have blessed me with, and I've implemented step by step. So that's one big thing right there, is getting that 150. Like I said, I had to hire a couple of instructors, so that was cool. And so now I have a short little staff here. No more one-man show. Now I can see myself opening another location, because I'm not going to have that struggle of, well, when you open, you got 0 students, and how long is it going to take you to break even, that 40 mark, that 50 mark? And then who wants to get stuck there? So I can definitely see myself looking around and getting another location or 2.
Wow.
And implementing your program into my schools. So that's a good long-term goal, and going to work towards that.
It's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Thanks for being here with us today. I can't wait to see you hit 150, man. That's going to be super exciting. Super exciting. We're so proud of you, man. It's so great. It's just beautiful to see the impact you're making in the community. Again, it's just the beginning. You know, just imagine 12 months from now where you're going to be. That's going to be even more inspiring. And, you know, it's going to be really, really, really cool to watch, because we still got some people on here. So again, if you guys want the same systems and the same processes, the same templates, the same support, mentorship, and help that we've been able to, you know, deliver to Deric here, that helped him go from stuck at 70 to 80 to up to 110 and seeing 150 in the short future. And you're considering working with us and going through the same process that he's implemented in his school. And maybe you have some questions. Maybe you're wondering if this is even right, or how it's going to work for your school, or what it would look like with your specific situation. So if you want information on how we can help and what it would look like to work directly with us here at GKS, you know, we're offering these game plan calls over the next few days. It's 15 minutes tops. There's nothing for sale in these calls. It's really just an understanding and diagnosing of what's happening. So if you're a good fit, we'll set you up with some homework. We'll give you some additional resources and then the next steps to get started with us. But if you want that call, just type in game plan right here in the comments, and we'll be watching out. We'll be keeping an eye on this comment thread and making sure that we are able to send you that private message on Facebook to get that quick phone call set up, and that we can give you some clarity. We can walk you through what it would look like for your school specifically. And one day you might be on an interview like this with Deric here with me and Travis, and we'll be talking through the success that you're seeing. And so it's just so awesome to see how quickly things can change and how abundant you can be while working less, having a bigger impact on your students. And, you know, it's awesome. So again, we're looking for school owners who want to make an impact on the lives of their students. We're not just looking for money hungry McDojos or, you know, anything like that. It's awesome to make a bunch of money, and we want you to be successful. We want you to have a lifestyle and an income that you deserve, and that you know, we value what you do, and we think you should value it too. But you know, if that's all you're after, it's probably not going to be a good fit for you. But if you really care about your students, you really have a program that can transform people's lives, no matter what style of martial arts you teach. If you want to implement a system just like Deric's done, just type game plan into the comments right below, and we're going to hook you up with that game plan, and we'll give you some resources. And, you know, by the way, if you're not a good fit, we may refer you over to some other resources, maybe some trainings, maybe even hook you up with one of our friends that would be a better fit for you. We've made a lot of connections in the community, and some of them might be a better fit for you. So we'd love to help you figure that out, though. We'd love to help you get the clarity on what it looks like for you specifically. So Deric, thank you so much, man. It was a real pleasure. I was inspired multiple times throughout the call. I know that many others were. Any final words before we wrap things up?
Jim Rohn says, in order for things to change, you have to change. And that's what I had to do when I first found your program. Okay, in order for things to change, I have to change. And so I followed your program step by step, and I still do. And so for me, it was just, I needed that change. And for me, it was like just to say yes. Be willing, say yes. In order for things to change, I had to change.
I love it, man. It's great. Travis, anything you want to jump in and add?
I can't top Jim Rohn come from Deric Terrell. I mean, that's
Jim Rohn from Deric Terrell. It's like
you
can't follow it. You can't follow it. Awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to see where you go in the next 12 months, Deric. Obviously, we know you're going to, but keep us posted. We know everybody knows this works for Deric. I don't think anyone has given us more feedback and positive encouragement to help us know that we're moving things in the right direction. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us here in this live stream. And for everybody in the comments, give Deric a big thank you for coming here and sharing his story and sharing what worked. You know, it's not easy to block out an hour of your day in a busy dojo with 114 students or 110 students there. So thank you so much for coming on here with us today. For those of you looking to work with us, I'm definitely looking forward to getting to know you more and chatting on that game plan call. I see a couple of you have already taken advantage of that. So thanks, Deric. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deric.
All right. Thanks, guys.